our first winter weather event for this fall season, which is going to take place tonight into tomorrow. It's not going to be a real significant event, not going to be the kind of thing that's going to cause lots of problems, but it is going to cause some impact, and so that's why and it's the first storm of the year, so hence the kind of the excitement about this. If this happened in February, we'd probably be mostly ignoring it. So let's take a look at what's going on across the country. First of all, here's the satellite imagery. You can see our storm to our west, really kind of heading in our direction. A big wall of clouds. We do have some sun this morning, going to give us warm us up a little bit, although we started quite cool this morning. I was at 15. I had for a low at my house. So lots of low 20s in the in the higher terrain and things like that. I really do well on those clear, cold nights in terms of radiational cooling at my house. But here's our storm to our west and starting to get going. One thing we're going to notice with this is that the surface low versus the upper level low is part of what's going to cause our problems in terms of us saying just snow. So here's kind of our surface low pressure area here down across the Gulf Coast. It's tapping lots of moisture. We're going to see that on radar in a minute. But we have this pretty strong upper level low that's going well to our north and west. And so what we would need to happen in terms of us getting a big and all snow event, especially this time of year out of a system like this, is for this surface low down here to really rapidly develop. And even though it's going to take what's a very favorable track for snow for the most part, it's not going to rapidly develop. The upper levels setup for it isn't quite right. Also, the temperature gradient from cool water or cool air over the continent to warmer ocean water isn't quite where it needs to be in order to really get a significantly strong surface level system going in time for us to walk in the cold air. So what this is going to allow to happen is at the mid levels and low levels of the atmosphere for warm air to kind of flood in. And so what starts as snow will change to a period of kind of wintry mix, which could include some sleet, some freezing rain, and then that eventually will also change over to just plain rain for most of us in southern Vermont tomorrow. So let's take a look at what that means in terms of radar. You can see that even though we don't have a real strong system here, we definitely have plenty of precipitation. This radar tends to overdo the precipitation. This isn't quite as significant as it looks here, although you can definitely see wherever you're seeing those darker greens and the red and the yellows, certainly you are getting some pretty significant precipitation, and we do have some snow to the northwest of the system, more associated with the upper level low currently that's off here. And what's going to happen here is as if energy slowly transfers from this to this system to this system, we are going to develop, block in a little bit of cool air, which is what's going to keep us going. And we have cold air in place across the northeast right now, which is why we're going to start as snow, as the precip, as the warm, moist air starts to override that cool air. We'll start us as snow before we move the warmer area in aloft. In terms of what our temperatures look like this morning, this is why we're going to start as snow. You can see we got lots of low 20s. Dew points were real low in the teens for a lot of us this morning. And so what that means is there's plenty of cold, dry air in place. And so as we move the warmer air on top, plus we're going to get the clouds. That'll help keep the cool air locked in as precipitation isn't going to start until quite a bit after dark tonight, probably about 10 o'clock, between 10 and midnight precipitation starts. Let's take a look at, in general, across the Northeast, what we're looking at in terms of precipitation types. This is broad strokes, so any specific location here might be a little bit different than this, but we're looking at mostly rain across southern and southeastern New England, across southern Vermont, mostly even some places like Brattleboro, even Bennington, probably sees mostly rain out of a system like this. Snow to rain, which is what most of us are going to see across the area that mostly I forecast for. To our north, snow to mix, and you really got to go almost to Canada before you get to a place where there's all snow, or northern Maine, where there's all snow. So beyond that as well, we have, so in terms of what the models think, here's like a model representation of what it thinks. So here about 10 o'clock at night, we're starting to get snow into the area, and you can see stays snow for a few hours before the rain really starts to move in. I think this model might be a little aggressive with the warm air, but probably not overly aggressive. And you can see really we get mixed all the way to the Canadian border out of this model representation. And I think it's relatively accurate. So in terms of actual snowfall totals, what are we looking for? Just a slushy coating, which will probably mostly wash away in the rain along the Connecticut River Valley, Route 7 corridor. Actually, you could probably pull east a little bit here, like a place like Manchester, probably just a slushy coating to about an inch that will mostly wash away. As you start to head up the hills, we get 1 to 2 inches, and as you head further north, that area expands out. So a lot of places 1 to 2 inches. The higher elevation, places that are mostly over 1,500 feet, 2 to 3 inches. And as you head up into northern northern Rutland and northern Windsor County, kind of in the heart of the Green Mountains, up near Killington, places like that, they may get 3 to 5 inches before they change over there. That's where the snow starts to actually become more of a factor. In northern Vermont, it's still not a huge snowstorm. Even the places that see mostly all snow out of this are really only looking at 3 to 6, maybe 7-inch spots way up north. But for us, it's mostly a coating to a couple of inches, maybe a spot 3-inch amount. At some of the ski areas, Stratton, Okemo, Bromley, they might see some snow. Mount Snow could even see, but not a huge storm by any stretch of imagination. It will, however, leave us a little bit slick out there, so we want to make, because the timing on the changeover will affect that. We'll see that as we look here. Precipitation begins about 10 tonight to anywhere between 10 and 12. Starts from southwest, basically in the Bennington area, up towards the northeast throughout the day. Snow changes to a mix, then to rain from about 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. So places in the northern part of the counties, by 8 a.m. you're starting to change from snow to a mix by 8 a.m. Lots of us across Windsor and Bennington counties, especially the lower elevations, are already seeing just plain rain by then. Snow will change first at lower elevations and at southern locations. Roads are likely to be slick, especially above 750 for the morning commute. Some school delays are likely if you happen to live in a town where there's a lot of terrain above that, especially if you're above 1,000 feet, above 1,500 feet. The higher you get, the longer it will take for those roads to start to clear out. But I think school delays are likely on a bunch of spots. Precipitation changes back to snow, showers in the afternoon, but not really any more accumulation out of that as that happens. So that's what we're looking at currently. I don't think things are pretty locked in. Doesn't look like it's going to change too much. But if anything does change, I'll certainly make sure I get that out to you. And thanks for supporting my channel, watching my videos. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of my videos, you can make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also want to give a quick shout out to my patrons. Help support what I do here financially, and if you're interested in becoming a patron, there's a link in the description below that helps. Yeah, all right. Thanks for joining me, and we'll be back with an updated look at this forecast tonight.